One of the low-key worst feelings in gaming is when a game shows off a cool new power or ability or character, and then when it gives it to you, it's not as cool as they made it look. When Mid just joins your party in Chrono Trigger and goes from being an incredibly powerful boss character to just a normal dude. When Huey builds you a battle gear in Metal Gear Solid 5 and it turns out you don't even get to pilot it or even see it in action. When Wolfenstein The New Order shows someone take down a helicopter with their bare hands instead of dot-you-chewed power armor. And then in Wolfenstein The New Colossus, when you finally get to wear it yourself, it's just a small boost to your armor. Unlocking Oni Link in Majora's Mask and then realizing you can only use him in boss rooms. When Dark Void based an entire game around having a jetpack and then put anti-air stuff everywhere so you couldn't actually use it outside of a small handful of designated areas. The World is Your Weapon is a small turn-based Japanese RPG that never holds back from its premise, and I love it for that. You're the daughter of a famous blacksmith who's been killed by the Big Bad, and you're now responsible for taking over his weapon shop and avenging his death. The gimmick is that, true to the title, you can use literally anything in the game as a weapon. And when I say anything, I mean anything. The game's tutorial has you grabbing a shoveling on the ground to use as a weapon, but in fumbling with the game's controls, I accidentally picked up a piece of the path I was walking on and wielded that instead. A little wandering around, I picked up a small lake and bashed some enemies to death with it. When I returned home to heal, I grabbed the stove and freezer from my kitchen as weapons. When I left, I wound up picking up my neighbor's entire building as a weapon. The game does not care at all about realism, and it is so much stronger for that. The game is gleefully unbalanced, because, of course, smashing a monster with an entire building is going to hurt more than hitting it with a plate. But they put in the effort to give almost every object some unique, relevant effect. There's straightforward ones, like an oven doing fire damage, but there are also silly ones, like a wash tub that makes enemies vulnerable to cold, because in real life, when you get out of the bathtub, you get cold. Also, the game's economy is based around you running your weapon shop, selling items for money that can be used to upgrade your stats or get new abilities, so figuring out what items to keep and are worth giving up your weapon slot is an extra wrinkle to the strategy. To add yet another layer, you can pick up and wield monsters and NPCs if you get their health low enough, so there's an entire Pokemon Collectathon you can do if you want to. In fact, filling out your collection is so compelling that the actual quest to complete the 4 dungeons and fight the big bad guy was firmly on the back burner for most of the game, just because I was having so much fun vacuuming up every object I could. In a sprawling Ubisoft open-world game or collectathon platformer, the novelty of collecting things wears off long before you reach the end, but here the game held my attention for the entire dozen-odd hours it took to beat it and get my fill of the post-game content. Also, it's thankfully impossible to permanently miss anything or screw yourself over, because whenever an item is broken or sold, it reappears back in its old place in the world, which is important for a game with such a relaxed and silly vibe as this one. I just want to mention that the game's art is incredibly charming. Most of the assets feel like they're some sort of generic RPG Maker sprite set, but the original illustrations are all very amateurish and messy in a way that I just love. Going off of the Steam page, the developer is a Japanese medical college student who made the game in his free time leading up to his pharmacist license exam, and that's really cool. I love seeing people who work in different disciplines making video games. And while the developer stopped updating back in 2019 when it came time to undergo his exams, this is a complete game. It even has a super challenging roguelike dungeon with 200 floors if you feel like really getting your money's worth out of the game. All in all, The World is Your Weapon is a fun little game. If the $10 price tag is a little intimidating, it tends to go on sale a couple times a year, so toss on your wish list. This is a shorter video, so I wanted to add a little housekeeping here at the end. I just wanted to thank all the subscribers and viewers I've gotten this past month. I've had nothing but positive interactions, and it's been incredibly gratifying to hear back from the creators of games I love and see new people being introduced to them. If I'm lucky, I'll have a new microphone and recording setup coming in at the end of this month, so hopefully that will make me sound better in future videos. Also, my girlfriend got to do a piece of artwork for the Steam trading cards that were added to the newest update of The Void Rains Upon Our Heart, so congratulations to her. I'm including a link in the description if you'd like to see it. As always, if you've enjoyed my videos, please be sure to share them with other people. Thanks, and I will see you next time.